Good morning. People still coming in. I'll wait a minute. My name is Laura Mueller, and I serve on the Board of Trustees here at First Unitarian. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whether you bring joy or sorrow in your heart, you are welcome here. All people of goodwill are warmly invited to join us on the great journey of the mind, the heart, and the spirit. If this is your first time at First Unitarian, please feel free to let the offering basket pass you by. Your presence is gift enough. We hope you will join us for coffee and conversation in the community room after the service. We'd like to get to know you better and to answer any questions that you might have. You can also visit the information table near the exit of the community room. If you're looking for ways to engage with our community and support the work of our congregation, please visit the opportunities table at the back of the community room. There's a variety of activities there that are looking for helping hands, and hopefully we can find something that interests you. Please remember to silence your cell phone and other electronics. Welcome to service. At this time, take a moment to greet the people sitting around you.
Are you going to cue me in or
sure.
something?
It's just after the singing. After the singing
this
dies
first
down,
song?
sitting.
Okay.
Yeah. Whoever you are, wherever you are welcome here. Whoever you are and wherever you are, you are so very welcome here. We're so glad that you're here. Particularly if this is your first or second time joining us, we are glad that you're here. Please join me in singing our song of welcome. We are many, we are one, the light of the world is within you. Sacred and worthy is your soul, a place has been made for you. Welcome.
So I need to make an announcement. Next Sunday, October 6th, we have the author Pam Houston, who's a Colorado author, and she's going to be here at 7 p.m. She's going to read from her book, Without Exception, Reclaiming Abortion, Personhood, and Freedom. You can RSVP at reproductivejustice@fusden.org. Any questions? October 6th, 7 p.m. Okay.
There we go. Yep, you can see it right there. Welcome, everyone. I have my entourage of young folks here to do the call to worship today with me. Our call to worship comes from Maya Angelou and is human family. I note the obvious differences in the human family. Some of us are serious. Some thrive on comedy. Some declare their lives are lived as true profundity, and others claim they really live the real reality. The variety of our skin tones can confuse, bemuse, delight, brown and pink, and beige and purple, tan and blue and white. I've sailed upon the 7 seas and stopped in every land. I've seen the wonders of the world, not yet one common man. I know 10,000 women called Jane and Mary Jane, but I've not seen any two who really were the same. Mirror twins are different, although their features jibe, and lovers think quite different thoughts while lying side by side. We love and lose in China, we weep on England's moors, and laugh and moan in Guinea, and thrive on Spanish shores. We seek success in Finland, are born and die in Maine. In minor ways we differ, in major we're the same. I note the obvious differences between each sort and type, but we are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike.
Ah, perfect.
Greg. Oh, yay, it's on. As the choir processes, I want to invite you to one more event that's next Sunday, October 6th. I will be performing a concert with violinist Ryan Drickey at 3 p.m. This is an auction event, so a fundraiser for our church. We're performing classical works, Argentine tangos, folk songs from Scandinavia and the Balkan countries. I'm really excited. Ryan's a longtime friend and colleague of mine, and we haven't performed together in 25 years. So if you're interested, there's a sign-up sheet in the community room at a coffee hour.
To the Okay, where are my friends? Come on down. Is Michelle Wheatman here today? I don't see her. Oh, she's our volunteer superstar of the week. I wanted to shout her out in person. All right, friends. So if you're on this side, you might not see the book. You might want to come to this side. Then you can see. All right, thank you, friend. Oh, we have so many friends today. Special shout out to my microphone holder, Piper Schaefer. All right, this is called The Great Big Book of Friends by Mary Hoffman. And as always, we're just going to read a few pages. What is a friend? What do you think a friend is? Friends are like family. Someone who likes the same things. Someone who lives next door. Someone who asks you to their party. Someone who likes you and you like them. Someone who wants to play with you. A group of friends. Do any of you have a group of friends? I do. What if you don't have just one special friend? You might prefer to have some more. It can be a lot of fun doing things with a group of friends, playing games and talking about things you all enjoy. Friendship groups can last a lifetime, till you are all grown up and maybe have children of your own. You sometimes see groups of grown-ups having fun together and being silly just the same way they did when they were young. And look, the kids are saying they must be overtired. Because they're acting crazy. This page is called Sharing. Quite often, we become friends with someone else because of sharing something. It might be when we are quite little and someone holds a toy to us. Or it might be later when we discover we enjoy the same food, games, music, or books. And these two are on unicycles and they're juggling and they say, "We have so much in common." We can share secrets with our friends too. Sharing space can be tricky. Friendship often seems to be about sharing. As we get older, we might share ideas and opinions rather than things. And the very end of the book is called Friends Forever. Look around at the friends you have. It might be hard to imagine now, but one day you will look back on all being kids together and laugh over the funny things you did when you were little. It's good to think that you might still know some of them, when you are grown up, isn't it? Do you think some of us will be friends when we're grown up? I bet we will. Liza says yes. I agree. I think we'll be friends when we grow up. All right, friends, you ready to go? Let's do it.
Good morning. Would you please rise in body and or spirit and join me in doing some singing this morning. If you want to follow along with the music, it's in the gray hymnal, number 212, but the words will also be on the screens behind me. This is We Are Dancing, Sarah's Circle. 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 Sisters, brothers, all. Here we seek and find our history. Here we seek and find our history. Here we seek and find our history. Sister, We will all do our own naming. We will all do our own naming. We will all do our own naming. Sisters, brothers, all. Every round of generation, every round of generation, every round of generation, sisters, brothers, all. On and on the circles moving, on and on the circles moving, on and on the circles moving, sisters, brothers, all.
Hi friends, I'm Stu Ferguson and going to invite you to give a little money to our church. I've been around for 40 years now in this church and have done just about everything, except be the minister. I haven't done that yet. And the reason I come to church and give a lot of money to the church is because of my friends who come here mostly. But I also think it's important that this church survive, because it's been kind of a beacon in Denver for about the last 140, 150 years. And within the memory of people that I know in the church, it's helped to combat racist hiring downtown and redlining in our selling our houses. We had somebody stay in our church for a while during when they were deporting people who shouldn't be deported. And most recently, we had a reparations fund that we were able to generate quite a lot of money, actually, to help give back to the black community. So it's important for those reasons, as well as for you being friends of mine and helping me when I need help. So please feel free to give generously. If it's your first or second time, let the basket pass you by. We'll accept the offering now.
You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel alright, the kind you wanna stay up with all night. You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel whole, that won't leave your side when you lose control, the ones that won't let you lose your soul. You gotta find your people, the ones that get the joke, who understand what you're saying before a word is spoke. You gotta find your people, put the needle in the groove. When you're together, got nothing to lose. When you're together, got nothing to prove. In a world full of strangers, you don't know who to trust. All you see is danger, trying to find what you lost. You can't go it alone, everybody needs help. You gotta find your people, then you find yourself. You gotta find your people that'll call your bluff, who will ride along when the road is rough. You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel equal. They pick you up and don't put you down, help you find your way in the lost and found. In a world full of strangers, you don't know who to trust. All you see is danger, trying to find what you lost. You can't go it alone, everybody needs help. You gotta find your people and you find yourself. The ones that understand you, the ones that lend a hand to you, the ones that don't demand anything from you. You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel alright, that tell you the truth and wish you well. You gotta find your people, then you find yourself. You gotta find your people, then you find yourself.
Your gifts freely given are gratefully received. Thank you for your generosity, your support, your contributions to the larger ministry of First Unitarian Denver. Thank you. I want to just briefly call out all the folks who are here, and there's a bunch of them, who take just a little extra step most Sundays to welcome somebody else here. So just give yourselves a big hand. So. A couple of very brief things I want to call to your attention. On the back of your order of service, third item down there, actually the second under the title, there's a little blurb there called First Unitarian Seeking Engagement, the FUSE, F-U-S-E Task Force. And I just invite you to, I'm not going to read that to you, I just invite you to take a look at that, because that is one of our major initiatives for this year, is to get hopefully a lot better at including people in the larger community. So, and I know there's at least one, I think there's a couple more members of the FUSE Task Force. If you're here, would you stand up briefly so we could recognize you? Good deal. Second thing, I want to note that this coming Thursday, October 3rd, is Rosh Hashanah. And that is the first of the High Holy Days, what's known of it in the Jewish tradition. And the legend is, in the Jewish tradition, I think this is worth noting every year, legend is, on Rosh Hashanah, the Book of Life is opened. And it remains open for 10 days until it is closed again on Yom Kippur. And those 10 days in the Jewish tradition are an annual invitation to make amends, to practice forgiveness, to recognize our own failings and seek to make them right. I've had Jewish members of our congregation make appointments with me during the High Holy Days and come in and say, you know, when you gave that sermon about 3 months ago, I had bad thoughts about you afterwards. And I just want to let you know that so that we're in right relationship again. That's the kind of thing you do in the High Holy Days, is you try and get right with yourself, with your community. So I want to hold that up. And along those lines, this coming Thursday, there's an organization called Jewish Voices for Peace, and they are holding a Rosh Hashanah ceremony, service here at First Unitarian Denver. We are hosting them, and they have been very clear that we are all invited. The whole community of First Unitarian Denver is invited to the Rosh Hashanah service that's happening this Thursday at 10:30 in the morning. Now, friends, I want to hold up that as we gather this morning, safe and warm, here in this beautiful building, in this beautiful community with our beautiful children chirping in the background there, we cannot help but be aware there are others in this world, siblings in the larger human family, who have no safety, who have no resources, not even food and water in many cases. There is a war and there is terrorism in Sudan and in Syria and in Gaza and the West Bank and in Israel and in Lebanon now. And I think it hardly matters at this point who started what, especially in Gaza, where the campaign of bombs and raids and willful destruction has so far exceeded what might conceivably be called for, that has brought so much suffering and instability and death and trauma to so many people for so long, almost a year now, that there is simply no way to justify its continuance. A call on all parties: cease fire. Stop the bombing, stop the rockets, stop the killing, stop. This road does not go anywhere worth going. It does not lead any place we would ever want to go for anybody. What's happening in Gaza right now is not a war, even though our country and the media calls it so. It's not a war, it's a slaughter, a massacre, a systematic, violent attempt to destroy not just an organization, but a people. I call on our own government to stop aiding and abetting the slaughter of innocent people by supplying more money and more weapons to that effort. Ceasefire. Cease supporting a country that will not cease fire. For a prayer today, I offer the words of Rabbi Harold Kushner. Let the rain come and wash away the ancient grudges, the bitter hatreds held and nurtured over generations. Let the rain wash away the memory of the hurt, the neglect. Let the sun come out and fill the sky with rainbows. Let the warmth of the sun heal us wherever we are broken. Let it burn away the fog so that we can see each other clearly. So that we can see beyond labels, beyond accents, beyond gender or skin color or religion. Let the warmth and brightness of the sun melt our selfishness, so that we can share the joys and feel the sorrows of our neighbors. And let the light of the sun be so strong that we will see all people as our neighbors. Let the earth, nourished by the rain, bring forth flowers to surround us with beauty, and let the mountains teach our hearts to reach upward to heaven. Amen. Stand up and stretch if you'd like to. All right. So there's an old joke in the ministry that every church includes members of the Tate family. There's almost always a Dick Tate who kind of wants to run things. There's almost always a Rotate who wants to change everything. There's usually an Agitate who likes to stir up trouble, often with help from Irritate. Most of us are familiar with Hesitate and her partner, Vegetate. Not to forget Imitate, who wants our church to be just like their last one. And we all know Devastate, who always thinks the world is coming to an end. And we love them all of them, including Facilitate, who's always so helpful. And then we have, Cogitate and Meditate, who provide a thoughtful balance to the mix. And of course, we all feel bad for the black sheep of the family, Amputate, who has sadly cut themselves off from community. Ooh. Communities are wonderful, complex creatures, families in many ways. A few months ago, back in June, I began a sermon by asking you to raise your hand if you had ever had the experience of being excluded or left out of something. And nearly all of us raised our hand. Pretty universal experience. Being excluded, even from the wonderful Tate family, is a pretty yucky feeling. Amen? In my experience, not only does it feel bad, it actually kind of messes with your head a little. Gets you wondering, asking questions that really shouldn't be asked, like, what's wrong with me? West African writer, teacher Malidoma Somé wrote, "We have an instinct of community." And I invite you to ponder and chew on that phrase a little bit, an instinct of community. Because all of us, our need to belong is every bit as strong as our need for food and water. This is backed up by modern understandings of biology and psychology, right? Millions of years of evolution has genetically wired every one of us to be in community and in relationship. There is no such thing as an isolated human. No such thing. We live in a world where sensible, loving, thoughtful, wonderful people are really worried and scared, soulfully worried, and angry and confused about the country, about the world, about the environment, almost desperate, in many cases, like obviously desperate, literally, for a sense of hope, or at the very least, a community of inclusion and sanity, acceptance and love. All kinds of people are hungry to have some place, some community in their lives, some collection of people to whom they belong that is the antithesis of national politics and the nightly news. Amen? So here's a question for you, First Unitarian Denver. This community of faith I love so well and know so well and love so much. Given the world we live in, given the hunger that we know is out there, are we as welcoming as we would like to be? when people show up, and they do, they show up all the time, pretty much every single Sunday, do we let them know that we see them? Do we let them know that we honor what brought them here? Despite what the world is telling them, that in this place, their souls are sacred and worthy, do we faithfully make room at the table of this community when people show up hungry? Well, it's important to tell the truth. And the truth is that we as a church are inconsistent. It's important to be truthful. There are people who come to First Unitarian and they find a welcome that changes their lives, that opens their hearts, connects them to their deepest values and to lifelong friends, sets them on a path of spiritual growth they had not known was even possible. That happens. I've seen it hundreds of times. And there are others who come for weeks, even months, without making a single connection, even without being spoken to. It happens. I know this because they tell me. The truth is that the kind of story you get about how welcoming we are depends a lot on who you ask. This is precisely why we've created the Fuse Task Force. Again, I refer you to that blurb on the back of your order service. So I want to take this opportunity. I want to tell you a few things about the people who come to visit us. The people who come to visit us are courageous. It is a courageous thing to walk through the doors of a church for the first time. We have people who walk through the doors of our church almost every week who have not been through the doors of a church in 15, 20, even 50 years. We have people who come through the doors of our church who've never been in a church before, who have no idea how this crazy thing even works, but have allowed themselves to be drawn just the same. Even people who have experienced church, or are church veterans, for lack of a better word, I promise you, they're on high alert when they visit a new one. It takes courage to come through those doors for the first time. Here's something else you should know. We should all know. 80% of the people who visit us for the first time, who come through those doors, are in some kind of significant life transition. 80%. The chances are extraordinarily high. If someone's here for the first time, something's happening in their lives. This is true across all denominations and demographics for all first-time church visitors. If someone's here for the first time, something's happening. Someone has died. Someone moved. Someone lost a job. Someone got a job. Kids have left. There's been a breakup or a divorce, a new baby, a financial crisis, retirement, just released from prison, an illness for themselves or somebody they love, victim of a crime or a betrayal, something. The odds are extraordinarily high if they're here for the first time. Something's happening. 70% of everyone who visits us for the first time heard of us by word of mouth. Almost a huge percentage. It's safe to say that every single one of our visitors has already been to our webpage, has listened or read a sermon or two, has already researched our values and our community. 100%. There's no doubt. In other words, if somebody is like physically here, they have already pre-selected us. right? We've already gotten past the first couple of hurdles for welcoming them. They know who we are, and the fact that they're here is telling us they want to know more and most likely make a connection. No one's here by accident. It just doesn't happen. So, here's something else that I think we should all know. The primary questions our guests and visitors are asking themselves, like what's going on in their head as they walk through the door for the first time. And even if they don't articulate it this way, this is what's going on. They want to know, how does this community feel? Like, how does it feel? What's the emotional field in this community? What's it like? How does it feel to be among these people in this space? There's an old saying, right? People won't remember what you said. They might remember what you did. They will always remember how you made them feel. If there's one single thing I would have you take away from my words today, that's it. People will always remember how you made them feel. They're kind of wondering, like, who are these people in this First Unitarian Church? Like, who are they? What are they like? Are they weirdos? Are they friendly? Are they nice? Are they kind? Could I belong here? Am I welcome? They're wondering, what will be asked of me if I come back? What would that mean? They're wondering, is there something here to sink my teeth into? Something substantial? Is the spiritual life of this community substantial enough to bother with? Or is it all just fluff and superficial? Small talk. I'm telling you, people want depth. You want depth. About a quarter of the people who come visit, roughly 25% of visitors will return a second time or a third time, depending on were they greeted personally and expressly welcomed. Did somebody reach out a hand and say, I'm glad you're here? Welcome. Did anyone make an effort to learn and remember their name? Was the building attractive, clean, and cared for? Does it look like somebody gives a damn about this community? That counts a lot. Was the worship lively, meaningful, and inclusive? And again, does it feel good to be here? Does it feel good to be among these people in this space? I cannot say enough about how important that is to our visitors. The truth is that we and all of us all the time, we are simultaneously creating and responding to the human energy that is in this community. The aura, the atmosphere, the emotional field of our gathering. Right? You create that. I create that. We create that together. They are responding to things like, was it easy to get information about programs and beliefs and practices and religious education? And they pay attention in the long run. Was there a follow-up letter, a visit, a phone call, a program flyer? Did they get invited to anything? All right. There was actually quite a while ago now, we had a wonderful workshop with keynote speaker Deborah Fine. Has any of you here were here for that? This was 12 or 14 years ago. I know some of you were here. Maybe you don't remember it. Here's a few things that Deborah Fine told us. What newcomers will see when they visit a group they haven't been a part of before. Doesn't matter if it's a church, a conference, a neighborhood, whatever. What they will see first is other people talking in cliques, even if it's not true. That's what they'll see. That's what you'll see. That will still be the impression, that the people who are already here already know each other and are not very interested in expanding the circle. Even if it's not true, that's what we'll see. If no one comes up to talk to them, they will believe that no one wants to talk to them. And that this is basically a closed community. Again, even if it's not true. What most likely they will feel if no one's talking to them. Well, and this is interesting. People who are generally shy, which is actually well over 50% of people who are generally shy, if they are sitting or standing alone while other people are gathered in groups or cliques, they will start to feel self-conscious about it. They'll begin to think that everyone else is seeing them as the one that has no one to talk to. Anyone been in that situation? Brene Brown, in her studies of vulnerability, notes, isn't it interesting when you ask people about love, they tell you about heartbreak? Isn't it interesting when you ask people about belonging, they will tell you their most excruciating experiences of being excluded? When you ask people about connection, the stories you get are most often about disconnection. Because that's kind of how we're wired. That's kind of how we see the world, unless it's proven to us differently. The number one deepest fear built into the human animal is the fear of abandonment or rejection or exclusion. More than death, more than public speaking, more than spiders. That's not a problem. That the number one fear built into the human animal is the fear of abandonment or rejection or exclusion. That's just the way it is. And just think of all the ways in which we have all contorted ourselves to fit in somewhere. Every woman in this room knows exactly what I'm talking about. Right? The men do this too. It's just men don't often have enough insight to know that's what they're doing. Right? Contorting themselves into something different to fit in. I hear some amens out there. So I've told this story before, but it's worth telling again. Let me tell you my own first experience of Unitarian Universalism as an adult. Most of you know I grew up a Unitarian Universalist, and like almost every Unitarian Universalist young adult, I left the church for a while. But when I came back, I was in my late 20s, and I was one of those 80% who was in a major life transition. Starving, almost dying for a deeper sense of purpose and meaning in my life. An adult community to belong to, and a more spiritual grounding to my life. When it occurred to me I needed to go back to church, there was no question where I would go. I grew up a Unitarian Universalist. You are my people. Like it or not, you're stuck with me. So when I showed up at the doorstep of the church in my town, I was eager. I was ready. The minister greeted me at the door, and I told him I was there because I was coming home. I was going to sign the membership book. I was going to make a financial pledge, and what was the best way to get involved? I am not kidding. He looked at me like I had just told him I could fly. Unbelieving, even suspicious, essentially communicating to me, ha, yeah, right. Even that did not deter me. I could go on and on about all the ways I had to literally push my way into that community. When the chairs of committees didn't get back to me, I just showed up at their meetings. When something needed to get done, I'd volunteer and I'd follow through the next day. I joined the Sunday service committee. I volunteered to canvass during the annual pledge drive. I became part of the caring committee and then the social action group, which in that church was really just 3 grizzled old hippies. Even with all that, it was a full year before I felt like I was seriously accepted as a serious member of that congregation. And that was only because when we fired the minister for misconduct, I'm serious, and half the committee chairs resigned, I stepped up to chair the Sunday Services Committee. I recruited a new team, and we kept Sunday mornings going for the next 5 months until we got another minister. That church was my first experience of chairing a committee. It was at that church I gave my very first sermon. It was in that church I did my very first hospital visit, organized my first forum, my first social action project. That was a church where Ray Weaver, who was 85 at the time, suggested I might consider ministry as a calling and a vocation. I'll tell you one other thing about Ray Weaver, too. He was the first person at that church who remembered my name. He's long gone now. I'll close with one more personal story. Where I grew up in Chicago, there was a park very close to where we lived, and this was in the days when parks had merry-go-rounds. They don't make those anymore, but they used to. It was my second favorite piece of equipment on the playground next to the swings, and the best time to play on the merry-go-round was when there were adults or bigger kids who were there who could spin it for us. Like fast. Like really fast. The most fun was for the big kids to make the merry-go-round spin so fast that you could barely even hang on. And even then, sometimes you would bail out and crash into the sand or onto whatever, the gravel, too dizzy to stand up again. Now, the hard part was getting back on the merry-go-round while it was still spinning, especially if there were 5 or 6 other kids still on it. Right? You had to get a running start. You had to time it just right. And even then, you took a really good chance of falling flat on your face or worse, getting clobbered by somebody's feet as they went by. But the best way to get back on a spinning merry-go-round was to have somebody reach out a hand for you. Not only did this considerably increase the odds of being successful, but it really meant you had a friend on board. Right? Because in the unspoken language of playground politics, being offered a hand meant you were welcomed, you were in. Consider, nearly every visitor and guest to First Unitarian Denver is wondering if they have a place on this merry-go-round. And they don't want the place that we occupy or you occupy. They want their own place where they can hang on and be connected and feel supported as they too resist the forces that are trying with all their might to tear us all apart. Spin our lives out of balance and out of control. I'm suggesting we see it as part of our mission, part of our calling, part of our job, as part of a community to reach out that hand. A kind word, an affirmation, a welcome, an authentic acknowledgement that we are talking to another inherently sacred and worthy soul. In the life of this community, in the larger life of this community, it's time to look at ourselves a bit. And I hope that you envision, as I envision, this place and this community brimming with love and energy, overflowing with outstretched hands, boiling over into the next generation of beloved community. I saw a sign on a church once. I thought it was absolutely perfect. I still think it's perfect. I'm going to close with it. This sign said, "Imperfect church, imperfect members, imperfect pastor, welcome the imperfect public, so that grace may abound." Amen.
Would you please rise in body and or spirit and join me in singing, "Come Sing a Song with Me"? Would you, though? Number 346 in the gray hymnal. The words, of course, are on the screens behind me as well. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you hope where hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll sing you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Please join me in singing our closing affirmation. Behind all our differences and beneath our diversity, there is a unity that makes us one, binds us forever together throughout all time, life and death, and the space between the stars, throughout all time, life and death, and the space between the stars.
Speaking of stars, Be noble, for you come from the stars. Be humble, for you are made of the earth. Be kind, for you belong to one another. Amen. Our service is ended.